Ring, a roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. This rhyme, this little ditty, has been ringing through children's playgrounds for around 600 years. However, this childish play was based on a deadly reality. It had to do with a disease, an illness. During October of 1347, trading ships from the east entered the harbor of Messina in Sicily. At the oars, dying men. On their bodies were dark, even black, egg-shaped swellings. Rats from the ships scurried ashore to join the local rodent population. The rats carried fleas infected by a bacillus lethal to humans. Thus spread the epidemic disease known as the Black Death, or, quite simply, the plague. If anyone with the disease sneezed in the company of others, they were sure to catch it. A tissue, we all fall down in death. And so entered the English language such expressions as, it spreads like the plague. Avoid it like the plague. Today there is a plague more widespread and more deadly than the Black Death. It is the plague of pornography. Webster's dictionary defines pornography as the depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures or writing, intended to cause sexual excitement. And pornography is spreading like a plague. Why? Well, one reason is that pornography is profitable, and so it is a multi-million-dollar business. Some of the major corporate names in the United States are said to be deeply involved in the distribution of pornography because of the huge profits it can generate. Videos, films, readily available. But the internet is a key element in making such material accessible to millions. And make no mistake, it is another modern drug. Many people today have developed an insatiable desire for pornography. Like drug addicts, they have to have their fix. It takes over their lives, over the lives of such people. It takes over their thinking. It takes over their behavior. It rules and ruins their lives. Sadly, many foolishly feel that the casual brush with pornography is harmless. How, though, should Christians feel about such things? This is a question that servants of Jehovah should seriously and prayerfully consider, because our relationship with Jehovah is very much involved. First of all, what is God's view? Well, the prophet Habakkuk said at Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 13, Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 13, "You are too pure in eyes to see what is bad, and to look on trouble. You are not able." Jehovah God cannot see what is bad, look upon it. That is to say, Jehovah will not countenance it. God therefore does not tolerate pornography because it is bad, and it does indeed lead to trouble. Oh yes, trouble for the individual, trouble for the family, mental trouble, emotional trouble, physical trouble. So, do you have God's view of pornography? See how Jehovah exhorts his people at Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. For it tells us there, let your love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is wicked. Cling to what is good. And to abhor means to dislike intensely, to hate it. Why should one abhor pornography? Because it undermines good morals and it weakens marital fidelity. Pornography perverts God's clean arrangement for sexual relations within marriage, reducing sexual intimacy to the level of animals, and it can produce fantasies of the worst kind. Listen to the admonition in Jude verses 18 and 19. Jude warned that certain men would proceed according to their own desires for ungodly things. These are the ones that make separations, animalistic men, not having spirituality. Pornography communicates to the observer or to the reader a message, an incorrect and harmful message about marital intimacy. It can degrade it. This in turn can curtail the development of such qualities as tenderness and caring, qualities needed in a successful marriage. 1 Corinthians 13 describes for Christians the quality of love, Christian love. Amongst its various descriptions, it mentions love is kind. It says that love does not behave indecently, that love does not look for its own interests. Pornography does not promote these qualities. This worldly plague is everywhere to be found, whether viewed in a theater, on a video, in magazines or books or on the internet. And in whatever medium it is found, pornography is indeed spreading like the plague. And remember, it is destructive, it is immoral, and contrary to Christian teachings, it is dangerous. It cultivates self-centered desires, selfishness being the opposite of the self-sacrificing spirit, a quality required of Christians. Pornography goes contrary to the Bible's counsel found here at Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8. And what does it say there? Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8 tells us, finally, brothers, whatever things are true, whatever things are of serious concern, whatever things are righteous, whatever things are chaste, whatever things are lovable, whatever things are well spoken of, whatever virtue there is, and whatever praiseworthy thing there is, continue considering, thinking about, meditating upon these things. So, the counsel of God's word talks about things that are true and serious and righteous and chaste and lovable and well spoken of, virtuous and praiseworthy. These are the things that should occupy the thinking of Christians. On the other hand, becoming ensnared by the plague of pornography can lead to spiritual shipwreck, even death. Certainly the Black Death, carried on the backs of rats, took the lives of many. Up to a fourth of the entire population of Europe died of the plague. The facts show pornography to be death-dealing to families, causing divisions between husbands and wives, between children and parents, especially when children have been ensnared by it. It can foster the development of a moody, sullen, secretive disposition, especially among the young. But do not be fooled. Not only the young, make no mistake. It can lead to wicked conduct, a hardening of the heart, and a loss of compassion. A serial killer killed something like 36 women, became addicted to pornography when he was 12 or 13 years of age. Another, Arthur Bishop, was convicted of murdering 5 boys. According to one newspaper report, Bishop quoted a psychologist who testified at his trial that as people become addicted to pornography, their desires escalate. Their normal feelings become desensitized. Bishop confessed, so it was with me. Pornography was a determining factor in my downfall. Now, even though confessed murderers have admitted that pornography is destructive and led them to behave as they did, there are many people who still view it as harmless entertainment. It is not. It is addictive. It is dangerous. It is desensitizing. It is harmful. It will bring trouble. How can we protect ourselves? First of all, parents, you must take the lead in abhorring and avoiding pornography in all its forms. What are the newspapers that come into your home? Are they known as newspapers that contain pornographic images? If so, why do we have such newspapers? What of the magazines we read, the magazines we buy? What of the films we watch, the books we read? Are we secretly reading books or magazines with a pornographic content? The euphemism is adult material. Shh, don't let the children see. It's adult material. Why should we want to read or view material that we would be ashamed for the children to see us watching or reading? Remember, even a momentary look at a sexual scene can leave an imprint on the mind for years. So resist the temptation. Secondly, educate your children in the harmful effects of pornography. Also monitor your children's internet use and television viewing. Remember, those murderers were only 12 years of age or thereabouts when they got hooked on pornography. And hasn't there been a case recently in Britain of a 12-year-old boy being listed as a paedophile for downloading child pornography on the internet? Only 12 years of age. Do not permit access to questionable internet sites. Keep the computer in an open area or even do things together. Not only children, adults need this kind of protection too. And why? Because vast numbers of people are now giving in to their sexual urges through the internet. This is a hidden public health hazard exploding in part because very few are recognizing it as such or taking it seriously, said Dr. Cooper, the psychologist who conducted a survey on the use of the internet. A public health hazard exploding. Most of those who frequent sexual sites, however, consider the practice to be harmless. But just as a drug addict develops a tolerance for the drug on which he is hooked, many pornography addicts seek an increased dose of sexuality to gratify their cravings. What though if you have been ensnared? What then? First of all, get help. Get help from Jehovah God, who is our friend. Develop a strong desire to please God and maintain a good relationship with him, confident in the knowledge that he loves you and cares for you, and that he is there to help. What? Even with such matters, will not Jehovah turn away in disgust at my failing? be assured of this: Jehovah is most certainly there to help when there is a sincere desire to change and where there is a sincere effort made to bring about that change. Psalm 34 verses 18 and 19 tell us this: Jehovah is near to those that are broken at heart, and those who are crushed in spirit he saves. Many are the calamities of the righteous one, but out of them all Jehovah delivers him. How can I be righteous if I have been ensnared? Well, Jehovah's people are righteous people, yet they are frail and too can be ensnared. But Jehovah is there to help such sincere, broken-hearted ones. This plague of pornography is a calamity. So if you have been infected by it, then supplicate Jehovah constantly to help you to resist the temptation. Secondly, take a spiritually mature friend into your confidence. Talk to him or her. Now, that might be difficult, but no doubt a mature spiritual friend will admire you for getting help to resist the temptation. They will no doubt commend you for admitting, first of all, that you have a problem, and secondly, that you want to do something about it. If in the future you accidentally come across pornographic material, stop reading or watching it immediately. Do not be curious to any degree. And apply the advice of Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious over anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, along with thanksgiving, let your petitions be made known to God. And the peace of God that excels all thought will guard your hearts and your mental powers by means of Christ Jesus. Yes, we can win out with Jehovah's help and with the help of mature Christian brothers. It will help enormously, too, to commit to memory and to meditate on such texts as those found in Psalm 97 and verse 10. O you lovers of Jehovah, hate what is bad. He is guarding the souls of his loyal ones. Out of the hand of the wicked ones he delivers them. What a fine text to commit to memory. Matthew 5:28. I say to you that everyone that keeps looking at a woman so as to have a passion for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. How wise not even to get started on that road as Jesus advised. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 27. I pummel my body, said Paul, and lead it as a slave, that after I have preached to others, I myself should not become disapproved somehow. And what of Colossians chapter 3 and verse 5? Deaden therefore your body members upon the earth as respects fornication, uncleanness, sexual appetite, hurtful desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. To put to death the body members, Paul isn't saying we should mutilate the body or kill ourselves. He's simply saying that we should metaphorically, as it were, kill off these wrong desires that we may have. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 4 and 5. That each one get possession of his own vessel, said Paul, in sanctification and honor, not in covetous sexual appetite, such as also those nations have which do not know God. Clearly, there were problems among the early Christians with these matters, and his advice to them was to change. There are many reasons to avoid pornography. It can seriously affect your marriage and your family life. It can warp your judgment. It can damage your relationship with others. And fourthly, and even more important than all of this, it can ruin your relationship with our God Jehovah. Pornography, whether in print, in videos, on films, on the internet, is not for Christians. So don't even get near it. Keep far away from it. Remember, at tissue, we all fall down in death. If the pornography industry sneezes and we are nearby, we could easily catch this deadly plague. We could all fall down. So keep away. Do not let pornography rob you of everlasting life. And may Jehovah bless our efforts to stay free of any association with pornography. And may Jehovah God bless our sincere efforts to abhor, to hate this practice completely. For by doing these things, we can enjoy three lovely things. 1, a happy life. 2, a clean conscience. And 3, the hope of an eternal future, untainted by the worldly plague of pornography.